Hi, I'm Kathy Thompson, and this is my sister and shy partner, Julie Milam, and we own Creations and the main house, and we're here to walk you through our quilt show. This is our 42nd anniversary celebration, and our quilt show is called Watching for Rainbows, and it is all of these quilts that you're going to see in this show today will be donated to CASA, which is court-appointed special advocate. Hard to say, but they do a fantastic job of being advocates for foster care children in our community and in surrounding communities. And these quilts have come not only from our state, but from out of state. So we are honored to be able to show you these quilts and honored that they will be going to these kids. Okay? So let's take a walk. So we've tried to show you some quilts, and you'll see techniques such as applique, and all of the quilts have one thing in common. They have a challenge fabric, and this is a rainbow. That's our name, Watching for Rainbows. And in each of the quilts that were entered, some little tidbit was all we asked for, was that they used this rainbow fabric. And these quilts come from San Angelo. This was interesting because it was the first quilt we received, so it was so fun to see this quilt. And what you'll see also going along is all of the thank you notes that we've received from CASA. They are so grateful, and I wish everybody had a moment to read these thank you notes. They are very, very touching. Quilts, applique, these are also fun raw edge applique quilts. There are quilts that have a great fuzzy back, anything that a kid would love, and we loved all of these quilts. But they've come from Kerrville and Hunt and within the state. This one is from Center Point and Seabrook, Texas. And then we have League City. Some quilts, this gal sent 5 quilts. Lovely, lovely people just doing priceless things and so gracious giving of their time. All of these two quilts, one was the teacher and one was the student, and they're both so beautifully made. We don't know if it's a great student or a great teacher, but they're both coming together from Fort Worth. You can just see from more thank you notes and more color that we are thrilled to have such a happy event for children. And then also we have too many quilts to hang, so we have just as many beautiful quilts coming down this way. In the kit for our show, we had 1 yard of fabric and then a possibility of a pattern. So a lot of quilters have trouble deciding what to make, so we've offered simple patterns that could be made, and so we have some beautiful quilts done out of patterns that we offered. This area right here is dedicated to our quilter, Donna Diafori, who made 7 quilts. She entered 7 different quilts, and we always have a winner for the most quilts entered, and Donna took it with 7 quilts. She made 7 quilts. They're beautiful, and we're thrilled to have them. And then we won't know who is the recipient of this quilt until after our show, but $5 donation to CASA during the show, and you have a chance to win this quilt, and it's donated from Creations. So we have more quilts coming up and down the rows, and let's just walk the row just so you can see these quilts. I wish everybody could be here to see them, but not possible, so we're so grateful. This one came from Wisconsin, Del Rio, Texas, Round Rock, someplace I don't even know where Dale is, but we're so grateful. We received quilts in the mail. We had people come specifically to bring the quilts. This quilt came from South Dakota. I haven't done my mileage, but it might be the farthest quilt, I'm not sure. This quilt came from Kingsland, and the gal who brought it said she was making this quilt when she thought about our challenge, got one of the challenge and knew this quilt needed to come to us and used it as the binding. So this quilt has come from New Mexico. This gal has given us a quilt each year that we've done the challenge, and we've had the pleasure of having her come to the show. They've come from San Angelo. This quilt is from Arkansas. This is done by a winter Texan who's in our area for just a few months, and she brought us that beautiful quilt. Quilts, the applique, from cute applique to contemporary. There's just all imagination in these quilts, and we're just grateful for every one of them. The quilt in the corner is from our most seasoned quilter. Letty's 95 and has produced beautiful quilts. She's our most seasoned quilter, and we're so grateful. She actually donated a number of quilts this year, and each one is beautiful. So we're going to walk now over and take a look at another special group that came. So if we come back this way and coming back up this for more quilts. Can you just believe the generosity of our customers and our friends? I'm just, every time one came in, we almost started to cry. And this quilt came from Kerrville. This sweet quilter brought us 5 other ones just while she was doing this one. And then they've come from Houston. And this particular quilt came from Fredericksburg, and she took our challenge fabric and then added words and printed on there. She's used the bubble jet set, so there'll be a permanent set on there, and it's just beautiful words. Then I want to tell you just a little bit about this group. This little tiny group right here is we call it the Quilts of Cristobal. One of our customers is from Cristobal, and she teaches in her home 8 to 11-year-olds sewing and quilting. So she took the challenge and got quilt kits and helped these kids make these quilts, and they brought them a couple of weeks ago. So we call them the Quilts from Cristobal. When she took them, we were doubtful that Cassie could get that many quilts made with those kids, but there she was, and she did it. So we're so proud of those girls. And then, not to be outdone, Creations also wanted to give quilts, and these were made by the gals in the shop. These were donated by the store, and then each one of the ones around was made by one of the gals that works with us. We're all so touched, and being quilters, we wanted to be part of it. This quilt right here came from New Mexico. This was a customer who used to live here and moved to New Mexico, but thought enough to send us a quilt. And this quilt came from Rockport, and each one of these little bears has 57 pieces in it. So she spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to make that quilt. And then several of our quilts were actually hand quilted, which is an art in itself. And this one came out of San Antonio with all that beautiful hand quilting. So you see so many pretty machine quilted quilts, which is an art also, but it is a lot of time and dedication to come back and quilt one by hand. So we're going to wander out now to another area that is quilts that were just generously donated. They were not actually part of the challenge. Some quilters brought more, and some just appeared with quilts, and they are beautiful. So come this way and we'll wander out, take a look at our This entire range of quilts appeared the other day. A sweet gal from Granite Shoals, Texas brought them all. She said it was her therapy and she loved quilting, and entered the show and then brought these extra ones that are just all so beautiful. And there's just a child waiting for every one of these quilts so desperately, and we're delighted to bring them to them. And then this gal came up from the Houston area, and she brought 5 quilts. She said, I just love to make quilts. I love to make donation quilts. And this group of quilts came from a local gal who entered the contest and then brought more quilts. And then these 2 quilts right here, these 2, one of our friends and acquaintances from years who owned a store in New Braunfels many years ago, and she passed away this past year, and her friends picked up her things and made quilts for this. It's where Sally wanted them to go. And then we always say that it's never too late to turn in your quilt, so if you had a quilt from past years. These quilts are ones that just didn't make it last year, but our quilters finished them and they brought them, so it's never too late to bring one. And then this group is just generous quilters who brought beautiful quilts for us to share, and they're just lovely. We're just so grateful to every quilter who gave of their time, their talents to make these quilts. And then as we finish making our tour this way, we also have embroidery machine quilts. We put a little section here where, and who would want to have the Disney princesses? What little girl is not going to love, love, love that quilt? And then oftentimes your machine embroidery can enhance the quilting and then be applique on top of it, or in this case, set into it with words that are meaningful. So many of you just won't be able to come to this show, and we just want to say thank you to all the quilters who have made quilts for us, and to say if it's something you might like to do in the next year, look for our next challenge. August will be our next challenge. We don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll come to us. And your best way to find out about the challenge is to get yourself signed up for our newsletter, and you can do that at
creations-online.com.
I never can quite get that right. And sign yourself up and find out what's going on, and join us for next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.